And we do have some local state reaction we want to get to right now. We've got Secretary of State Jenna Griswold joining us here this morning. Obviously, a historic decision here. What is your reaction to this announcement and it being a unanimous decision?
Thanks for having me on. First and foremost, I think it's great that they actually issued a decision. As of Thursday night, over 400,000 ballots were already cast in the Republican presidential primary. And Coloradans and Americans all across the country deserve to know whether Donald Trump is a qualified candidate. With that said, I also am disappointed. I disagree with their decision. But of course, like I've always said from the beginning, I will follow it. Donald Trump is on the ballot, and we will be counting votes cast for him in the presidential primary.
Well, and Secretary Griswold, they essentially said that the states don't have the power to use this to pull somebody off the ballot. Is that the point you disagree with? I mean, what would you have liked to have seen come out of this? Because the court made it clear in their arguments that they were concerned if they allowed this in Colorado, what would other states do?
Yes, that's exactly right. I do believe that states have the ability under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to decide to not put on our ballots oath-breaking insurrectionists. The United States Supreme Court disagrees with that and says Congress has to act first. Congress has to pass some type of law allowing Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to be applied. I think the bigger picture for me is just the general reason Section 3 of the 14th Amendment is in the United States Constitution. And that's an understanding that having people in office who break their oath, engage in insurrection or rebellion, and then run for office again is dangerous. Now, this decision focuses a lot on federal candidates. So it would apply to, of course, candidates for the presidency, but also other federal candidates for Congress or United States Senate as well.
And of course, we know you were in D.C. for these oral arguments, certainly a big part of this entire factor here. Can you break down a little bit about this is coming up on the heels of Super Tuesday, obviously. Is this going to change how anything plays out tomorrow? Have you guys kind of been preparing for this?
From the point of view of administering the election, nothing changes. Taking a step back before the United States Supreme Court, the Colorado Supreme Court disqualified Trump, but said, put him on the ballot if there was an active appeal. So Donald Trump has always been on our ballot. Ballots went out the week of February 12th. I think that the big difference is not the administration of elections, but just the clear understanding for voters that if they vote for Donald Trump, that vote will be counted.
And do you see this as the end of the road for this argument? I mean, the Supreme Court is the law of the land, right? Is there any room for more legal challenges?
This is the partial end of the road, and I think logistically very much the end of the road. The Supreme Court left open the door for Congress to act. We have nearly non-functioning Congress at this point. I think it's highly unlikely that Congress will act to pass legislation enabling the Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to apply to this year's election.
Guys, this is amazing. This is freaking hilarious. So, Supreme Court, as you heard, ruled in favor of Donald Trump. In the case of Colorado, because Colorado's libtards, they decided to remove Trump from the ballot, but Supreme Court came in and was like, no, you can't do it, unless the House passes some sort of resolution to get into the law and blah, 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 blah. You can't just come out and say he's an insurrectionist without him actually being charged as an insurrectionist. You can't just say someone's an insurrectionist because you feel that way. So, the Supreme Court took a huge dump on their feelings, especially those judges who actually go through with it and, issue these stupid judgments, because if it was a Democrat, these will never come along, right? If it was a Democrat candidate who have nearly committed murder, there would not be any charges. So, as you saw the first video, you can tell the Secretary of State, she was a liberal. and she was super disappointed, super disappointed with the judgment. You could tell it on her face, like she was cringing. She was like, every time she brought Trump's name, like it you know, chills went down her spine. It was just unbelievably amazing. It was awesome to watch. She was in so much pain that you could tell from her face. You could tell from her face how much pain she was in, but it was a good pain for me to watch, at least. But that's not where it stops. That's not where it stops. As you know, how these liberals are, Rachel Maddow, is about to, have a meltdown as well because she's a huge constitutionalist, right? She believes in the Constitution and all this stuff, and only if it favors Democrats, because that's how Democrats function. If the Constitution only favors them, it's great. It's on the books. The Constitution is what we believe in. This is what the Constitution says. This is what the Constitution is all about. Blah, 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 blah. But when the moment comes that it doesn't play in their favor, it's over. We need to abolish the Constitution. We need to get rid of the Constitution. We need 15,000 people in the Supreme Court. We need 20,000 more liberal judges. We need 80 million, more refugees and illegal immigrants. We need, all this mumbo jumbo comes out, all these bright ideas, because these individuals are just so bright. These ideas come out of their head. It's just like, the universe is just like rotating in their brain, and they're coming up with these amazing ideas because the Constitution is not working in their favor, and we need to make changes, and we need to do this, and we need to do that. So all this stuff, right? But let's listen to this real quick, because I'm about to laugh my ass off.
I will say something. I am mad at myself for how surprised I was. I was mad at myself as the time went by, the 2.5 weeks. I think a lot of people thought, and this was with informed speculation by people I respect, people who've clerked on the court, people who've been around the court, studied the court, know the court. There is no way they could take 2.5 weeks only then to say we're taking the case 7 weeks from now. What was your reaction to the order today?
I mean, I don't think you should be mad at yourself. I don't think you should be embarrassed. I think everybody sort of thought that was the only kind of decent explanation for how long they were taking, that they were going to not take up the case, that maybe Samuel Alito or one of the other real MAGA judges was going to be really mad about it, was going to write an angry dissent, was biding for his money.
Did you hear what she said? MAGA judges. MAGA judges.
Much time as he could, because this was his last chance to insert delay, which of course is what Trump wants. I think that was, if you think about the court as the Supreme Court of the United States and a rational actor and a decent one, that was a reasonable supposition, and it just turns out they're not that. And Chris, I feel you in terms of the emotion that you're bringing to this right now, and the sort of sense of urgency with which you're underscoring what this means. It's true. There just isn't any way around it. And I feel like for people who haven't been following this, if you want to know why there's a hair on fire reaction to this, if you haven't been following every interstitial, incremental bit of progress here.
Indulge us, genius.
The important question here is not whether the Supreme Court is going to decide that Donald Trump and all presidents are immune from prosecution for crimes they committed while they were president. I mean, it would be fully insane for them to actually side with Trump here, right? Remember, this is the case where Trump's lawyer was asked by Judge Florence Pan in the appeals court, are you telling me that this guy that a president could order the assassination of his political rivals and there could be no prosecution for that? That would be okay? We'd have to let that go? Not only for the duration of his presidency, but for the duration of his life? That would be okay? And Trump's lawyers are basically like, yeah. So the idea that they're going to side with him on immunity is
that wasn't
unthinkable and also beside the point. The conclusion that we can arrive at now based on what they have done without having to wait for the ruling is that they are ensuring that Trump will not face trial. And when they inevitably rule that presidents aren't immune from prosecution after they leave office, what that will tell Donald Trump, if by then he is president, is that he can never leave the office of the presidency.
Oh my God.
And if he is voted out in
Oh, shut the fuck up. Ah. See, I love their meltdown. I love their meltdown. These are the dictator commentators. That's what I call them, dictator commentators. Because, as I said, if the Constitution and the rule of law doesn't play in their favor, they will cry foul. They will do anything in their power for them to overturn the law or the rule in their favor. But if the rule of if the law of the land works in their favor and takes their opponents away, they're happy about it. Rules for thee, but not for me. That's their tactic. That's their motto. That's their message every single day. And this is what you get, the geniuses of the geniuses from MSNBC. Right? I mean, I don't understand how MSNBC is still in business. I know why, because, they got, their supporters.
2028. He cannot leave office, and he is willing to he is welcome to commit any crimes he wants to, as long as he is still president, in order to ignore the result of that election and stay in power for life, because otherwise he's going to go to prison when he gets out. That is the way this is going to go, unless the country votes Trump out, votes for Biden and against Trump in November.
Yeah, that point about the...
Look at her face. Look at her face. This is just unbelievable. I mean, these people are just ridiculous to the power of 15 or 20 or whatever. Guys, I cannot believe I just watched this. This was amazing. This was just, I had to do this video because, man, I'm going to go to sleep so good tonight because of the way these people react. Their reaction is just priceless. The cringe in their face is priceless. They've been trying since 2016. 2016. We are in 2024 now, for 8 years. Okay. 8 years. These people have been trying to put Trump behind bars. 8 years. And you want to tell me that this is not a political persecution of their opponent for 8 years? Actually, I'm sorry, 9 years, because this whole thing started in 2015. Obama spied on Trump. There are records, there are proof that they spied on Trump campaign. They went to the Five Eye country, asked the Five Eye country to spy on Trump campaign and to report back. That's how they did it. This is how they circumvented the FISA court. They had one of the Five Eye partners spy on the Trump campaign and collect information. So for 9 years, they've been trying to put this guy behind jail. 9 years. And they've been failing for the past 9 years. So, you know what? I hope Trump stays a third term. He won't, because he is a constitutionist. He follows the Constitution. He is not going to overstay his term. But I hope, once he gets in this time, he's going to clear this mud swamp of DC and anybody who participated in overthrowing his administration when he was in office. Every single one. I don't give a damn who it is. Republican, Democrat, Independent, every single one. Because that's how you clear house. Bring in people who are actually gonna protect the Constitution and protect the constitutional republic of this country. We are not a democracy. We are not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. This is why our laws are different than other countries, and this is why we are the only country with the longest standing constitution till today. So, anyways, let me know what you think, guys. Peace out and sleep well.